Let's get right into it. Number 10. Wow chips. Frito-Lay tried to create a snack that lets you eat an entire bag of chips without gaining weight in the 1990s. These chips used olestra, a fake fat that your body couldn't digest. The idea was simple. If your body can't absorb the fat, you can't gain weight from it. But there was just one tiny problem. When this fake fat passed through your system, it didn't go quietly. It caused dramatic digestive issues that left people running for cover. The FDA actually made them put a warning label on every bag about abdominal cramping and loose stools. The Center for Science and the Public Interest suggested they rename them OW chips instead. People started sharing horror stories online and in person. Tales of ruined dates, interrupted meetings, and emergency pit stops became legendary. Frito-Lay tried rebranding them as light versions of their popular chips. But by then, everyone knew them as the chips that sent you running to the bathroom. In 2003, the FDA actually removed the warning label. They found that the effects weren't any worse than eating too many regular chips or fiber-rich foods, but it was too late. The damage was done. Number 9. Smell-O-Vision. Back in 1960, inventor Hans Laube created a system that could pump up to 30 different scents directly to each theater seat. The marketing was brilliant. First they moved, then they talked, now they smell. But here's where things got complicated. The smells would arrive several seconds after the scenes they were meant for. Imagine watching someone bake a cake, then smelling it during a car chase. And the smells wouldn't go away when they were supposed to. You'd end up with a weird mix of ocean breeze, fresh bread, and burning rubber all at once. The delivery system was incredibly noisy. Every time a new smell was about to hit, you'd hear a loud hissing sound from the pipes. It was like watching a movie while someone constantly opened cans of soda next to your ear. The whole experiment only lasted for one movie called Scent of Mystery. After that, theaters decided they'd rather stick to just sight and sound. Number 8. The Juicero Press. Imagine spending $700 on a juicer that needs Wi-Fi to work. This wasn't just any juicer. It was supposed to be the iPhone of juicers. The machine looked like something from a sci-fi movie, complete with fancy buttons and internet connectivity. It even had a QR code scanner to make sure you were using their special juice packets. Without an internet connection, this $700 machine wouldn't squeeze a single drop. Then Bloomberg did something hilarious. They discovered you could squeeze these fancy bags with your bare hands. Yep, your regular human hands could do exactly what this $700 machine did. The company tried to defend itself by saying the machine was about the experience of connected juicing. After raising $120 million from investors, the company eventually had to shut down. Number 7. Nintendo's red-eyed monster. Back in 1995, Nintendo had this wild idea to make a 3D gaming console. They called it the Virtual Boy, and it looked like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But there was one tiny problem. Everything was red. Not just a little red. We're talking about staring into a crimson nightmare for hours. Players started reporting massive headaches after just 15 minutes of use. The design didn't help either. You had to basically stick your face into this weird tripod thing. Imagine trying to play games while looking like you're getting an eye exam at the world's most uncomfortable optometrist. Nintendo even had to put warning labels telling people to take breaks every 15 minutes. The Virtual Boy lasted just 1 year before Nintendo pulled the plug. Number 6. Colgate kitchen entrees. Back in the 1980s, Colgate decided to expand beyond toothpaste and launch frozen dinners. They thought if people trusted them to clean their teeth, they'd trust them to fill their stomachs. So they created Colgate kitchen entrees with dried chicken and crab meat dinners. Imagine sitting down to a meal with a Colgate logo on the package. The problem wasn't about how the food tasted. People simply couldn't get past the mental image of toothpaste on their dinner plate. The whole thing flopped spectacularly. Turns out people prefer their toothpaste and dinner to come from different companies. Number 5. The Apple Newton. Apple's first attempt at a pocket computer that could understand handwriting seemed brilliant. You write something down, and the Newton turns it into digital text. But there was just one problem. It was terrible at its main job. The Newton would look at your perfectly neat handwriting and decide you must be writing in ancient hieroglyphics. It became such a joke that even TV shows started making fun of it. Apple actually kept trying to fix it. They released update after update, making the handwriting recognition better each time. But by then, the damage was done, and the price tag was just as ridiculous. It retailed for $700 in 1993. That's like paying $1,500 today for a device that thinks your grocery list is a love letter to a disco-dancing zebra. But the Newton was actually ahead of its time. All the things it tried to do, touchscreen, handwriting recognition, portable computing, are things we take for granted in our phones today, but being ahead of your time doesn't help much when your main feature doesn't work. Number 4. The phone that called nobody. Imagine spending $5 billion to build something nobody wants. That's exactly what happened with the Iridium satellite phone network in the 1990s. The idea was to create a phone that works literally anywhere on Earth. Whether you're climbing Mount Everest or sailing across the Pacific, this phone would keep you connected. They launched 66 satellites into space. But here's the problem. The phone cost $3,000, about the price of a used car back then. And the calls? Each minute could cost up to $30. That's like paying for a fancy dinner just to say, hey, what's up? Meanwhile, regular cell phones were getting cheaper and better by the day. The company expected millions of customers. They got 50,000. That's like building a stadium for 1 million people and only having enough fans to fill up a small coffee shop. Today, the network still exists, mostly used by military operations and emergency services. Number 3. New Coke. Coca-Cola spent millions on research just to make people hate them in 1985. They decided to change their 99-year-old recipe, because if something's been working for a century, why not mess with it? The company did 200,000 taste tests, and people said they liked the new taste better. But taste tests don't measure how much people want to punch you for ruining their childhood memories. When new Coke hit the shelves, people went crazy. People were stockpiling soda like it was the apocalypse. The company's phone lines were getting destroyed. They were getting 1,500 angry calls a day. People formed protest groups with names like Society for the Preservation of the Real Thing. Coca-Cola forgot they weren't just selling a drink. They were selling memories. After just 79 days of people treating new Coke like a personal insult, Coca-Cola brought the old recipe back. Number 2. The keyboard that lost to laziness. The Dvorak keyboard was designed to be the Ferrari of typing. Everything placed exactly where your fingers need it most. The most common letters were put right where your strongest fingers rest. Studies showed people could type way faster on it compared to our regular QWERTY keyboards. But QWERTY wasn't even designed to be good at typing. It was actually made to stop typewriter keys from jamming together. We're using a keyboard layout that was literally designed to slow us down. Why didn't everyone switch to the better keyboard? Because millions of people already knew QWERTY, and nobody wanted to learn typing all over again. Some brave souls who switched to Dvorak could type over 100 words per minute, but most people looked at the learning curve and said, nah, I'm good with my slow, inefficient keyboard. Today, Dvorak keyboards are like that one friend who does CrossFit, technically superior, but nobody wants to hear about it. Next time you're typing away on your QWERTY keyboard, remember, you're using the keyboard equivalent of a flip phone because humanity collectively said, hey, good enough. Number 1. The better tape that lost. Back in 1975, Sony released Betamax, a videotape format with crystal clear picture quality. It was like watching your favorite shows in HD, while everyone else was stuck with a blurry mess. But Betamax tapes could only record about an hour of content. Meanwhile, its competitor VHS could record 2 to 4 hours, and eventually up to 6 hours on a single tape. So if you wanted to record a movie on Betamax, you'd need 2 tapes and would have to get up halfway through to change them. It's like having a super fancy car that needs to refuel every 30 minutes. Sony also decided to be really picky about who could make Betamax players. They wanted to keep all the quality control to themselves. Meanwhile, VHS was like, hey everybody, come join our party. They let any company make VHS players, which meant more options and cheaper prices for consumers. The result? VHS players started showing up everywhere while Betamax became that weird format your rich audiophile uncle wouldn't shut up about. By the time Sony realized their mistake and tried to make longer playing tapes, it was too late. VHS had already taken over the market. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.